guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back for, I think it's the 7th retrospect review? No, 8th retrospect review? Anyways, today we are taking a look at Day of the Departed, which is one of the most widely talked about Ninjago topics, as well as one of the most controversial topics. Looking back on Day of the Departed, it was originally meant to be a season, and that season was meant to be, and as Day of the Departed is, it was meant to be a season where a lot of old villains come back, and Cole was supposed to be the center character, with Yang starring as the main villain. That was initially meant to be a season 7, Rise of the Villains, but soon it became a 44-minute Halloween special. And there was a lot of hype leading up to Day of the Departed. People were so excited to see a lot of favorite villains returning, such as Chen and, Cryptor and Pythor. People were very excited to see Samukai, who hadn't appeared in a long time, returning. But, of course, when Day of the Departed did come, a lot of people, including myself, were severely underwhelmed by what happened. So taking a look at Day of the Departed, there is actually a video called Everything Wrong with Day of the Departed, so I recommend that you go check it out. Very funny video. And anyways, the thing that is definitely wrong with the intro sequence, it starts out kind of showing the ninja racing to get to the museum to buy lanterns, and I think that is just really inappropriate. They kind of try to establish the fact that they are trying to get there to stop something, but yet it's really underwhelming when you find out that they're actually just going to get lanterns, and I think that is really stupid. It also establishes the fact that Cole is drifting away and having problems, but, that really just defeats the purpose of Cole learning to control his powers in Skybound. I know Skybound is technically an erased season, but you don't just erase the character development like that. Moving on from there, stuff starts to get a little bit interesting when Saunders, with the introduction of Dr. Saunders and kind of learning about the lanterns. This is one of the better parts of Day of the Departed, where the ninja do see their old villains and those statues. And then Cole drifts off completely again. Again, I don't really know why Cole is suddenly drifting off. That was just really abruptly brought up, and that doesn't even have that much explanation surrounding it. Cole drifts off, and the ninja completely forgetting about him, which is, again, really stupid. Like, how do you just forget about a ninja like that? And eventually they learn about the Rift of Return, which will open, and it very conveniently happens to be the day that it is a full moon and a yin-yang lunar eclipse or whatever. That is really way too convenient. Anyways, Cole, being isolated from the rest of the group, goes off on his own to settle his debts with Yang. I feel like this rivalry between Cole and Yang was a little bit too suddenly established. Cole blames Yang for the fact that he is a ghost, but in reality, it's not really Yang's fault. They knew that they would be turned into ghosts, and this was kind of his fault for deciding to tie everyone together. Moreover, this rivalry between them and this sudden hatred for Yang is just suddenly established in Day of the Departed, at the beginning of Day of the Departed, and isn't really explained any time before that. So it's kind of hard to believe. Anyways, the Yin Blade is also something that is a little bit weird. I guess it can just open up the Rift of Return. I don't really know how that works. Anyways, Cole accidentally releases all of these old villains. Again, I don't even know how Yang is able to bring back all of these old villains, but ultimately, Yang does use them for his own. He knows that they're all going to be defeated, and I think that kind of shows a little bit of cool development on Yang's part. He knows they're all going to be defeated and just uses them as a diversion. Anyways, all of the old villains are revived. Let me just say, I think the designs are definitely one of the best parts in Day of the Departed. The honor suits, or honor robes, which are the ninja suits for Day of the Departed, are really nicely designed. And on top of that, I think all of the villains, those of them who did get new designs, such as Pythor and Kozu, look stunning. I really love Kozu's new design, and I just think that goes to show that even though this is one of the most hated Ninjago content, it really has stellar designs. Anyways, moving on from that, the fights. So the main fights, one of my main problems with Day of the Departed was it was way too ambitious, and it tried to do too much. One of these examples is how it tries to include both Dareth and Ronan. I feel like this was really unnecessary, and neither of them really should have been in this 44-minute special. Dareth fights? I don't even know if fights is even the correct word, but he does some random crap and somehow manages to get Kozu defeated, which just works out way too well in his favor, considering Dareth is a total idiot. Anyways, Ronan also, he was good in the last season, but now he's decided that he's going to go back to his thieving ways. So he very conveniently decides to go rob Ed and Edna's place. Now the fights, some of the fights were, kind of cool. I did like Lloyd versus Pythor. Thought that was an interesting fight, filled with a lot of emotion and such. But Pythor, this special really ruined Pythor. Pythor was back to being a good guy in the last season, but after this special, nope, he's back to being a villain again, and we don't really get a satisfying conclusion. Season 4 really tied up Pythor's arc and gave us a satisfying conclusion, but nope, Day of the Departed really had to ruin that. Nevertheless, I did think the fight was cool, but Pythor just jumping off a cliff and surviving was a really dumb idea on the writer's part. Kai and Nia versus Chen was also a really stupid fight, Mario Kart style fight, and the outcome was really dumb with Chen just getting his own missile turned back on him. Really stupid fight. Jay versus Samukai was a little bit better, but all in all, Samukai didn't really do that much, and he was a comic relief character throughout the special. Now, the other fight, Zane versus Cryptor, was a good fight until that final scene, which is, in my opinion, the stupidest thing I've ever seen from Ninjago. Zane just gives up, Cryptor trips, and suddenly he's dead. I think that is definitely the stupidest thing I've seen from Ninjago. Anyways, the Ronin Ex Machina, which is pretty much when Ronin just comes very conveniently, he's gonna rob Ed and Edna's, but he comes and witnesses the fight to save the day. I think that was really stupid. I don't think Ronin should have been in the special at all. Yang also had some problems. I think Cole's arc was definitely the best in this special. He went from kind of being felt alone, and while the other ninja were triumphing over the villains, Cole was captured and kind of struggling, and I think that just kind of goes to show how Cole is definitely dealing with this in a kind of tough way. It's definitely taking a toll on him as a character. But anyways, Cole, I think that was really an interesting fight. That final showdown between Cole and Yang was very cool to watch, but I think Cole just suddenly getting RX powers was kind of silly and unnecessary. But in the end, I think it was nice that Yang realized that he was wrong and does end up turning good. I think that was definitely very nice for the special. But I think one of the stupid things was he is forced to stay behind as the quote-unquote master of the temple. And that is something that is really stupid that was never really explained. Tommy Andresen said on Twitter that it is quote-unquote just how magic works, and I think that is, no offense, a quite lazy explanation. And I would have liked to see more explanation as to why Yang had to stay behind, and why he couldn't have become immortal again. But in the end, Cole does triumph and becomes mortal again. And Yang, I think Yang, the conclusion of his arc is kind of sad. He is, in the end, alone, as he always was. Learning about Yang's students was also something that was very, very cool. We didn't know much about Yang's students, other than they were just presumably bad guys up in Season 5, but learning that they actually were normal people who were kind of they went under Yang's wing and kind of became evil, was really interesting, and it was nice to know that they were real people under there, and it was cool to see them become actual people again. Moro vs. Wu was probably, or not even versus, just the Moro and Wu expansion arc was probably the best thing from Day of the Departed. It was one of the only redeeming qualities. I was so glad that Moro wasn't a bad guy again. That would have totally ruined his death scene and that sudden redemption, but I think this was definitely one of the best things, just further building on Moro's redemption and further building on the fact that he is really a good guy now. Now, I think Day of the Departed definitely had some flaws, such as Cole suddenly being alone. It kind of worked for Cole and gave him some more trauma and drama in this Day of the Departed 44-minute special. It gave him more to do, but it was just way too sudden. Cole's feeling aloneness was kind of established by the fact that he was the only one who was captured and kind of did fail in the beginning, whereas the other ninja pretty much did have easy fights. Again, Zane vs. Cryptor was definitely one of the stupidest things I've seen from Ninjago. Now, Air Jitsu was not really featured prominently. Master Yang is just some normal guy, except they just decided to give him the role of the creator of Air Jitsu. But it was cool to see that Yang's arc was built upon after being introduced as, and foreshadowed, his future role was definitely foreshadowed in seasons, 5 and 6, and I think it was definitely nice to see, even though he did have some flaws, it was nice to see him get built upon throughout the 44-minute special. 44 minutes. That is definitely something that suffered. It was way too ambitious, Day of the Departed. They tried to fit way too much, such as bringing back side characters, such as Ronin and Dareth. They tried to fit way too much in just these 44 minutes. And it definitely affected the way that the special ran. The fights were really insignificant, and I didn't really care about any of them other than Cole versus Yang. And the fights were also really short, and that was definitely a major problem with Day of the Departed. Looking back on the sets, the set wave was really weird for Day of the Departed, given that they did some Skybound sets, and they also did some sets that were definitely not part of the show, but I think the sets, all in all, for Day of the Departed were pretty good. I did like the Samurai X Cave set, and the Ultra Sonic Raider, or is it the Ultra Stealth Raider? I don't know, I think it's the Ultra Stealth Raider, but I did like those sets, and I thought the minifigures, as I've already mentioned, the designs, were really amazing for Day of the Departed. But in the end, Day of the Departed definitely suffered from many different causes, and I think it could have been so much better. Day of the Departed is definitely my least favorite Ninjago content, and I would probably have to give it maybe a 5.5 out of 10. It really could have been so much better. It was one of the most hyped up things in the community, and it really did let down the community quite a bit. So that is all for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone ever you know, and leave your thoughts about Day of the Departed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.